Calvin here, aka Dr. Bren. Today I'd like to talk about my 23andme DNA testing result. I'm very excited about this. Now, have any of you at some point in time thought that you might have been adopted? This video might be for you. Just to be clear, this video is not sponsored by 23andme or anyone else. It is 100% my personal interest. Because I use the service, you can treat this video as a customer review. I study biology and I'm always interested in my genetic origin. Like how much of my DNA is from what ethnic group and when. Some of us have pretty good understanding of their family tree and family origin, but most of us don't. Either because chaotic time like war have destroyed the family record, or lost the record, or just don't have a record at all.
Even those who do have records, are you sure you are who your family record says or your parents says?
So if you're wondering who I am genetically, let's find out.
So here's my 23andme account. As you probably already know, we humans are very close to chimpanzees. They share nearly 99% of our DNA. Within all humans, we are about 99.5% identical. It is that 0.5% that makes us different from each other. Let's look at my ancestry composition first. This is what I'm most interested in. I bet you are too. It did not surprise me that 96% of me is East Asian and Native American. What really surprised me is that I am 49% Chinese. Also, 44% of me is even from Guangdong province, China, which is one of the southernmost provinces in the country. In fact, I'm from the northernmost part of China. I'm a Mongolian from Inner Mongolia. 1% Vietnamese, interesting, 3.4% broadly Chinese and Southeast Asian, 28.4% Manchurian and Mongolian. That's too much lower than I expected. When I looked at this, I was shocked. And still. Oh, I have 0.6% similarity with those people living in Siberia. 9.6% Korean, that surprised me. But this probably makes sense because my great-great-grandfather on my father's side lived close to current day's China and North Korea border. Perhaps someone from Korea married to him. 2% Central and South Asian. This doesn't tell much about me. Well, all those percentages might be correct or incorrect because these percentages really depends on the current number of 23andme customer and their ethnic groups. Alright, let's look at my ancestry timeline. You can see these parts are from long time ago, before 1840, whereas my Korean part came into my family around 1870. Mongolian and Manchurian part around 1900, whereas my Chinese part came in around 1930. That means someone at the fourth generation up from me was Chinese. I don't know which side of my family brought each of these. So I have ordered a few more kits from 23andme to sequence my grandparents' DNA too. Alright, now let's go to the summary page. We have already seen my ancestry composition. Currently I have 616 relatives on 23andme, as well as 169 third or fourth cousins. My relatives are 64% less likely to like the taste of dark licorice. 75% of my relatives have Chinese ancestry. It seems that I have some Neanderthal parts. This is my maternal haplogroup and paternal haplogroup. Let's look at my Neanderthal part first. This is more interesting than the other two. It says that I have more Neanderthal DNA than 95% of other 23andme customers. Does it mean that I am 95% more like a caveman than the rest of us? Hey, don't be a racist against Neanderthal. Neanderthal are an extinct species of Arctic humans who lived in current-day Eurasia until about 4,000 years ago. I have 296 variants from Neanderthals, which accounts for approximately 2% of my DNA. That is a lot. A better sprinter. That is true. Having more dandruff. I'm not sure about that. It says in 2010, scientists sequenced the Neanderthal genome for the first time. That's an amazing scientific progress. Now, let's look at my paternal haplogroup, the haplogroups. Okay, just to explain, a haplogroup is a genetic population group of people who share a common ancestor on the patrilineal male ancestors, or the matrilines, female ancestors. Okay, my paternal line can be traced back to Eastern Africa over 275,000 years ago. Let's look at the haplogroups. I have haplogroup A traced back to over 275,000 years ago in East Africa, which is where modern humans are from. Then C-M130, which lived in Central Asia 60,000 years ago. Then there is C-M217, which lived in Southeast Asia approximately 45,000 years ago. Then moved to East Asia. C-M130 can be found across Asia, Australia, and Americas. C-F 1918 haplogroup, about 5,000 years ago. That's nearly 2,000 generations ago. That haplogroup is relatively uncommon, about 1 in 8,400. Then there is, you share a paternal line ancestor with Genghis Khan. Well, this doesn't surprise me. I always expected this. Also, his name is Chinggis Khan, not Genghis Khan. Lived from 1162 to 1227. This haplogroup is most common in Hazara, which means horse bridle in Mongolian, and Mongolian, Uyghur, Chinese Kazakh, and Inner Mongolia, which is where I am from. This paternal haplogroup test is based on Y chromosome, which a male inherits from his biological father. Let's take a look at my maternal line. It says that I have a haplogroup L, which dates back to 180,000 years ago in Eastern Africa. Then a branch of L group became L3 around 65,000 years ago, also in Eastern Africa. Then a branch of L3 became N around 59,000 years ago, but in southwestern Asia, it looks like in current-day Saudi Arabia. Then one of N became haplogroup R, also in Southwest Asia. Then a branch of R migrated to Southeast Asia and even to Australia. Another branch moved to East Asia. R0 is frequent, about 1 in 250, and R0 is a part of the rich history of the Middle East. The maternal line, or haplogroups, are determined by mitochondrial DNA, which one would inherit from his or her mom during fertilization. That is because sperm doesn't carry much mitochondria. Okay, this is my raw data. As you can see, they sequenced all 23 pairs of my chromosomes as well as my mitochondria. On each of them, there are dozens, even hundreds of genes. Now, just to be clear, they don't sequence your entire genome, which is all of your DNA. They don't even sequence your genes. Instead, they sequence your DNA markers, called SNPs. These markers are the most common type of genetic variation among people and can be found in and between genes. Scientists have found more than 100 million of these markers in population around the world. When a SNP resides between two genes, it's called intergenic. On my chromosome number 1, there's a gene called OR4F5 where this SNP exists. This is its genomic position. This SNP has two variants, A or T. Mine are both T. If you click the hyperlink of a SNP, it will take you to a more detailed and professional page of description on NCBI, National Center for Biotechnology Information. Okay, besides ancestry test results, 23andme also offers health and treats if you choose to buy. I am not going to talk about it today, perhaps sometime in the future. That's pretty much it for today. My parents are all Mongolian. If I have only 28% Mongolian DNA, does it mean that I am possibly adopted? I want to figure out which part of my family contributed to my Mongolian DNA and which part to my Chinese DNA. So I have ordered a few more kits from 23andme to let my grandparents test out first and probably my parents later.
Thanks for watching. Please click the thumb up button below and subscribe. Peace.